What's up? How is everybody out there in Shiny Land? We're in a new year. It's 2023. It's going to be the best year yet. This is going to be the best coffee with Michael this year, guaranteed. Promise you 100%. What is up, Praveen from India? How are you doing? Annie, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Dave Mackey, how's it going? Are we ready to crush 2023? I hope everybody had a great Q4. We're going to be doing some Q4 kind of roundup interviews here as we get into 2023. You're going to get to see other people's success. It's going to be really exciting. I've got a great interview for you today. I'm looking forward to getting into it. It's going to be awesome. Martin, looking forward to this one. Yeah, it's going to be good. Best year yet. That is right. Today, where's my little button? Uh-oh. There we go. Today, we're going to be talking about how Dean did over $900,000 in Q4. And we're going to reveal his profit margin. We're going to do that a little bit later, though. If you want to know his profit margin, you're going to have to stick around. We don't hide anything here at ShineOn. We are not ashamed of profit margins around here because we have a really great product. It's ethical. It's white hat. It's high quality. You can sell it for a lot of money. You have high AOVs because of the perceived value of the product. It's something you can sell, make money on, and still sleep at night. We're going to be talking about all that here in a little bit. You're going to learn the profit margin here, so stay tuned. Happy New Year to everybody. Let's get into this. First Digital Marketer's Toast of the year. If you're new around here, every Friday in Coffee with Michael, we do a little thing called the Digital Marketer's Toast. It's a magical tradition. It's almost a ceremony. We believe it does powerful things in the universe. We believe it lowers CPMs. It makes Zuckerberg feel good, so he stops banning people. We believe gas prices come down every week when we do this. People in the chat report feeling tinglies every single week when we do one of these. In Q4, it was not uncommon for people to do the toast, and they'd get a bunch of sales during the toast. That's the power of the toast. So quickly, grab a drink, get some water, anything you've got within arm's reach. Let's do this. Raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks. Join me now for the Digital Marketer's Toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs to higher CTRs, much higher CVRs to enabled ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales, and to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. Are you ready? Cheers, everybody. Drink up. There we go. You got to savor it. You have to savor it properly for maximum results. There we go. There we go. I know you're feeling it. You're feeling all warm in your chest. I know. That's the power of the Digital Marketer's Toast right there. If you had tinglies, let us know in the chat. I will keep my eye out for it. Do me a favor. If you like what we bring you every single week here on Coffee with Michael, like the post. There's 100 people watching this. Like the post like crazy. Each and every one of you, please vote with a like. Drop some love in the comments. Many of you are great at that. Olivia, cheers. Facebook user, cheers. Annie, cheers. Nelsie, yes, Nelsie. That was better than the champagne at New Year's. That's right. That's right. It is. It's amazing. It's amazing. There is power in the toast. Gail, what's up? Salute. They're flying in now. I've got the chills, man. It's been a long time since my last toast. That's what I'm talking about. Super cheers. I like it. I hope you can discuss about scaling. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit. Don't you worry. Okay. Let's keep going here. Let's talk about our swag winners from the last few weeks. First up is Joy. Happy New Year, everyone. I just want to say I'm blown away by ShineOn. This is my first Q4. I guess I, too, can say it was the best Q4 ever. I had a customer who placed a name necklace order on December 21st. And I'm going to kind of skip through some of this, but Joy was really worried that the order wasn't going to get there. And she said, not with ShineOn. They got the name necklace made and packaged and delivered by December 24th. So ordered a name necklace on December 21st. It was delivered on December 24th. It's like a Christmas miracle. We were making Christmases everywhere here. So thank you, Joy, for sharing that. Congratulations on the sale. That's awesome. You've got some swag coming your way. Next up is Althea, forgive me if I didn't say that right. Hello, family. I'm super happy to be closing the year on a high note. I started 3 months ago, and these are my figures. Thanks to the best coach ever, Reggie. Love you, coach. You're transparent, authentic, and just want all of us to win. Thanks to Michael. You're very inspirational. I love watching you on Friday. Special thanks to MD. I apologize, but MD for doing my UGC. Yeah, love seeing this. $23,000 in revenue in Q4 alone. That's absolutely amazing. Congratulations. Thanks for sharing this. You got some swag coming your way. All right, Judith. Hello, fam. Wanted to share my Q4 results with you. And look at this, $82,000 on this account, $13,000 on this account, $3,000 on this account. Absolutely amazing. If I were to just say I didn't bust my butt getting here, I'd be lying. I started my journey with ShineOn 1.5 years ago. Promised myself I'd have a $100,000 Q4, and here I am. Guys, it's a skill like anything else. Anybody that's here that thinks this is get rich quick, or within a month you're going to have a winning product that's going to make you 6-7 figures, maybe, but it's not likely. This is a skill like anything else. You're not going to hit a home run every time you step up to the plate. You're not going to be able to dunk the first day on court or anything like that. You've got to kind of learn, hone your skills, and develop it. And that's exactly why we bring you these trainings every single week. It's why we have the challenge. It's why we promote our programs like Scaling with Mario and so on and so forth. It's so that we can equip you with the skills you need to succeed. Notice here, Judith, 1.5 years she was after this before she had her first $100,000 Q4. I love the transparency here. And I also love that she never gave up. That is key to being successful. That is key. Never giving up. If you don't give up for long enough, you win. Right, fam? Okay. Let's see. Shout out to Reggie. You're the real deal. Reggie's a coach around here. He's awesome. Tammy, your encouragement last Christmas kept me going when I wanted to give up. Michael, thanks for reassuring me graphic orders were on track when I was starting to panic. Big shout out to ShineOn support too. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for sharing this, Judith. You've got some swag coming your way. Next up, Gail. Gail is in the chat with us this morning. I've already seen her once. Gail, what a year it's been. I wanted to share my year to show what that is true what they say. If you don't quit for long enough, you win. Ha! I just said that. $33,000 in revenue. Absolutely amazing. I had struggles in my personal life in the middle of this year, made it very difficult for me to budget towards ads or dedicate the same amount of time that I had been to my new business. But I really believe strongly in my path and wasn't going to give up easily. I consistently watch Coffee with Michael. Thank you. Hearing the stories of advice, top sellers, and especially the mindset episodes kept me on track and motivated. I never stopped learning, creating, testing when I could, and moving forward. I went into Q4 with only $1,000 in my ad budget, and I hit a winner. I love that. I love that. I did the best with what I had, and I am proud of my results. This is freaking awesome. I love this testimonial. Gail, let's do a coffee with Michael here soon. $20,000 in less than 3 weeks is no joke. Now I've turned around to use those profits to join Reggie Jennings and the Ecom family. I love this. She made money. She's turning around, reinvesting it into her education so that this year's ceiling can become next year's floor. Absolutely amazing. I love that. I can't wait to hit that 6-figure mark with their guidance, motivation, family by my side. Have a happy new year, my shiny friends. 2023 is about to be crazy. Can't stop, won't stop. Absolutely awesome. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing this, Gail. You've got some swag coming your way. My favorite saying, yeah. Way to go, Gail. That's awesome. Let's give Gail kind of a round of applause here in the chat. Can we throw up some hands in here? Let's throw up some hands in the chat. You know the little hand emojis? You know what I'm talking about. Let's do it. And then also, I think, Gail, we'll get in touch. We'll try to have you on Coffee with Michael here soon before Valentine's Day. If you want to. Olivia, we got some hands going on. Go, Gail. Yeah, way to be. Way to be. I love it. All right. Let's keep going here. If you want to get some free swag every week, we grab 2 to 5 posts from the group. We try to do this randomly. We're looking for testimonials, screenshots. I really love the value tricks, like value posts rather, on what's working for you, tips, tricks, hacks, all that kind of thing. Drop those in the group. If we feature your post here, you'll get some swag. We got hoodies, t-shirts, hats, all kinds of stuff. I have a 4-month-old daughter upstairs, and she's wearing, we have like, well, I don't know if she's wearing it right now, but we have a ShineOn onesie that we put her in. So there's all kinds of stuff in the swag store. It's pretty cool. All right, latest news. We updated the cost of priority shipping. So when we launched it, we did tell everybody it was launching at a discounted rate of $9.95. We had to bump this up to $10.95. This is, really, we're not looking to make money on this, but we can't lose money on it, right? So that's kind of why we had to increase the price a little bit. Not only do we pay right around $9-10 for shipping, depending on where it's going, but there's also some administrative and some overhead and some software development we did and things like that. So $10.95 is the price of priority shipping. Unless USPS changes their rates, this will not go up, right? So it's going to be $10.95 going forward. Just a heads up for everybody out there. We want to make sure you have it priced correctly in your store so that you aren't losing money when you pass it on to the buyer. All right, the ShineOn contest, the results are in. Marvin walloped everybody. Big surprise there. Marvin started Q4 super strong. He was absolutely crushing it. He lapped everybody 3 times, right, with the amount of points he had. So Marvin did fantastic. Elias came in second, 612,000 points. In Washington at 570,000 points. Tammy, it would be great to get a slide here that just has sales or revenue or something like that, like number of orders, number of revenues, because I'm not sure everybody can connect with points here. But Marvin, Elias, Washington, Matt came in at number 4. What's up, Matt? You better be watching today, but I haven't seen you in the chat yet. Joseph, Gary Contreras. Gary's sometimes watching. Lindsay Cash. Wow, Lindsay made the leaderboard. Number 7. That's awesome. I was just talking with her the other day. Stephen, Andre, Osmar. Congratulations. It's amazing. We do these contests every year during Q4. We got a leaderboard and stuff like that. I'm sure we're going to have more. I don't know if we'll have one for Valentine's Day or not. I'm sure I'll learn about that soon. And then we're probably going to have one for Mother's Day. Last year, it was called the Monumental Challenge. Pretty clever. All right. Let's keep going. Oh, okay. Love this stat right here. Hang on. Let me pull it up. Tammy said, for all the people in the contest, right, they drove over $6.3 million in revenue. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Lots of successful folks in the contest. So make sure you join that the next time we have one. The ShineOn Challenge is $47 a month. Let me get that down off the screen. You can join it anytime, ShineOnChallenge.com. It's designed to take you from 0 to your first sale. Now, I do have a statistic I want to share with you. In Q4, we looked at everybody that signed up for the challenge, and we looked at those people that completed the challenge, okay? And I think everybody that signed up, we had like 40% of people complete the challenge where they went all the way through it to the end, right? It was like 40% of the people. Of those 40% that completed the challenge, 90% of them made their first sale. That's not an exaggeration. That is the data. 90% of the people that completed the challenge made their first sale, right? So if you're new and you're trying to figure this out, this is a great opportunity. It's $47. If you make a sale, you have an opportunity to get that money back. If you make it during the challenge, go sign up for this, ShineOnChallenge.com. If you complete the challenge, you implement the steps, 90% of people that did that got their first sale. Absolutely unbelievable. I don't know of any other training program that it has that kind of success rate, right? So go check it out. Now, obviously, results are not guaranteed. I don't want anybody to hear anything like that. However, if you're new starting out, I would have killed to have had a program like this when I was starting, right? I had to figure all this stuff out on my own. Many people did. This is the place to be. All right, let's keep going. ShineOnChallenge.com if you want to sign up for that. Okay, best way to stay caught up on, oh no, there we are. Okay, the best way to stay caught up, this slide's, the best way to stay caught up, we're going to do it anyway. Up in the Facebook group, if you click featured or announcements, anything that we've tagged that's newsworthy, that we've marked an announcement or we pinned to the top, all of it's going to be listed in there. It's like a news feed of all the stuff that we're doing. So if you ever feel like you've missed something, go there, check it out. Product launches, feature releases, testimonials, coffee with Michaels, all that fun stuff. It's all right there. So if you want to go find that stuff, it's very easy to find. And finally, do me a favor, please. It would mean the absolute world to me here. If you we're with us in Q4. If you've taken the challenge, got your first sale, if you're starting out and you like the resources that we're providing, the training, the family we're trying to create around here, please do me a favor. Leave us a review in the App Store. It would mean the absolute world to us. If you go to apps.shopify.com/ShineOn, you're going to land right on the app and you're going to be able to leave a review. And it's super simple. These screenshots are actually kind of old. Shopify literally just updated like their entire UI. But the steps are basically the same. Go into the app. When you get to the app page, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the reviews. There will be a write a review button. It's going to look a little different, but there will be a write a review button. We'll update all these screenshots for the next one. Please leave us a review. So just so you know, if you go to the App Store right now, you type print on demand, we're in the top 3 results. We're number 3, right? We did that in like 3 weeks time after launching to the App Store. It's absolutely amazing how quickly we got to that place in the search results. The only 2 companies in front of us are Printify and Printful. Printify is number 2, Printful is number 1. I've been taunting Printify on Twitter for months now that we are about to displace them in the search results. I need your help, people, to make that a reality, okay? Please join me in my taunt, right? Do not let my taunts be in vain here. Please go here, leave us your honest review. That's exactly what we need to displace Printify in the search results. Together, family, I believe that we can do it. I believe that we can do it. All right. I think we're ready. So, Dean, give me a thumbs up if you're ready for me to pull you on the screen. All right, let me bring Dean on here. There we go. Dean, how you doing, buddy?
What's up?
What's up?
You know, I've been waiting to do that for months now. I've been
awesome, dude.
I love the what's up.
So I was talking to Dean like right before we started Coffee with Michael. I'm almost certain, I couldn't find the post, but there was a post that Dean made like 6 months back when he was just getting into this, where I think it was a screenshot maybe of some initial sales that you had. And I went into the comments and I said, congratulations or something like that. And Dean said, I will see you on a future Coffee with Michael. And here we are.
It's highly possible. Yeah.
Absolutely
Probably.
amazing.
And you know, that post I made in like the end of March. We ran our first ad March 28th, our first initial testing. And we got some sales. I think we had like $1,000 in sales. We weren't profitable yet, had a few, tests that showed potential, and I got some swag. And I think, this cup looks kind of familiar.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's from that post.
That's cool. So what he was holding up there for anybody who couldn't see was we have a Digital Marketer's Toast mug in the store. Let me make you full screen here. Uh-oh, wrong person.
There it is. Right?
Yeah. So the Digital Marketer's Toast mug, it's in the merch store. That's awesome. That's awesome. You drink out of that every Friday, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay,
yeah, I mean,
good.
Come on. More cash, cheap CPMs. Look, how could you not, right?
My ego needs to hear that kind of stuff from time to time. All right, let's I want everybody to see where are we at here. I'm a little rusty. It's been about 3 weeks since I've done one of these. I want everybody to see this screenshot here. This is a screenshot of Dean's results from Q4, right? By the way, the last name is Levi, right?
Levy,
Dean Levy. Okay, Dean Levy. All right, so this is, a screenshot of Dean's results from Q4. Look at this, $911,000 in revenue in Q4. He's got over $1 million of sales on this account. It just wasn't all in Q4. It kind of trails back here a little bit. $911,000 in revenue. Dean, what was your profit margin on this?
So the profit margin, should I say, is it time?
Let's
should
do
I give it away?
Yeah. Let's
20%,
go.
Right? After all product costs and ad costs, 20%, which is huge, right?
20%. So, Dean, you basically pocketed like $180,000 somewhere in there, right?
Give or take. Yeah.
I know it's kind of tough to get precise and down to the penny on this. I've been there many times. $180,000. So, Dean, let me ask you this real quick. We're going to get into your story and everything, but before I do, Was this one product? Did you have several products? What did that look like?
So, of course, on this store, we sold several products, but it was mainly one, right? It was one product that really got the bulk of the sales.
Yeah, it's usually one product that does 95% of the revenue, something like that.
Right.
Okay. Very cool. We're going to talk all about that. All right. So I'm going to pull this down. I just want everybody to see the screenshot. This is why you need to listen to Dean and care about this interview. 20% profit margin here. There all the time when we post these revenue screenshots, people are always in the comments like, yeah, but what's profit? Thinking there's like nothing there and it's just a brag fest. 20%, 20% profit margin in Q4 alone, 180 grand in extra income. So let's talk about Dean's story here. Let me get you pulled up. All right, Dean. How'd you get into ecom, buddy?
So my wife and I started ecom. Actually, we started our first store at the end Q4 of 2018, and it was a total flop. We didn't know what the heck we were doing.
This was before ShineOn, right?
Yeah. So we were doing we had a successful store in drop shipping. Actually, we still run it. We still make a few thousand a month in profit from it. From 2019 to I think like 2021, mid 2021, we did like 2.5 million on that store. But that's like completely different. That's like drop shipping products from China. So it's like consumer products. No POD really. So ShineOn was like a completely new thing to me. And we had a pretty tough year in 2021. So like the second half of 2021.
Well, so hey, before we get to 2021 real quick. So 2018 is when you started. Sounds like you kind of got your butts handed to you a little bit because you were new.
Well, we didn't know what we were doing.
What did 2019 look like? Did you have any wins?
Yeah. So like 2018, we didn't learn from anyone. We're just kind of making things up on our own, selling impulse products to brides to be, which just doesn't make any sense. Because we started doing market research, and then like the time that they take to make a purchase decision is 2 weeks. So impulse marketing like didn't make any sense. We figured it out pretty fast. No experience with Facebook ads.
Why did you get into ecom to begin with?
We always wanted to have a business. We tried a few things before. I've always been a really independent person. I was freelancing I've been freelancing since 2009. And I studied business. My wife also, started a couple different businesses before. We always just had that drive. We always wanted to be entrepreneurs, to have that potential of unlimited earnings, right? And it's a lot of work. Honestly, it's not for everyone. But we love it. We love it. And we've gotten slapped around a bit too. We had a pretty tough year. But let me get back because you asked about 2019. So 2019, we did the Ecom Success Academy course with Adrian Morrison. We got into that from Bob Proctor. So we did a lot of mindset, work, and then we got into ecom from his Bob Proctor has an affiliate program with Adrian. We got into Adrian's course, and then we just got super lucky.
That's awesome.
We did $1 million pretty fast.
Wow. Was this with like free plus shipping? I know
Yes.
he was pushed. It was free plus shipping.
It was free plus shipping. And we did 2.5 on that store.
Wow.
Mainly free plus shipping. We added more retail stuff down the line, which is insane.
Do you still have your jobs at this point? You and your wife?
No. We started doing ecom full time Q4 of 2019.
Wow. Good for you. So what was your you were doing free plus shipping, it sounds like most of 2019. You did 2.5 million. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. What was your margin on that?
It was pretty big because the ROAS was sweet on that. I think the ROAS was like above 4. So
wow.
Even though the margins, the product.
Good for you guys.
Yeah, thanks.
That's awesome. So 2019, you get kind of a war chest built up here. You do pretty good with the free plus shipping. Take us into 2020.
Yeah, so 2020 was like the golden year of e-commerce. So, 2019, 2020, the first half of 2021, we did really well. Fortunately, we didn't make any dummy moves. We saved what we earned because then for the next 12 months, it was brutal, right? iOS 14, huge influx of competition after 2020 when everyone's at home.
Yeah.
I think Adrian made like 50 million or something selling, his stuff. So a lot of people entered the market, a lot of competition, a lot of
Yeah.
dropshipping.
So just for anybody that's new and wasn't here, 2021 was 2020 was a unicorn year for e-commerce. So in 2021, you have Q4. Q4 is the biggest selling period of any year, right? In 2020, Q2 dwarfed 2021's Q4. That never happens. Right? It usually takes another Q4 to beat the previous one. But 2020 was like this. It was just everybody was at home. Everybody was making purchases online. If you were in a gifting niche at all, like in ShineOn crushed in 2020, because if you were in a gifting niche at all, you did amazing in 2020 because people were buying gifts for people that they couldn't see to kind of say like, hey, I hope you're enjoying quarantine or whatever. Or people get sick with COVID because it was blown up. People were sending like lots of gifts to their sick friends and stuff like that. 2020 was absolutely insane. And then what Dean was referencing there was as you got into 2021, Apple released iOS 14. iOS 14 was a kind of a new security patch from Apple where they basically restricted how your social media platforms could attribute sales and things like that, right? So basically, the algorithms, the targeting got weaker starting kind of at the end of Q1 of 2021, and it was a little bit of a bloodbath in 2021 because you have this huge influx of competition and people wanting to make side income and things like that from this unicorn year 2020. But then you also have iOS 14 hurting all the attribution. So it's this increase in competition while at the same time having less attribution. It made it really, really difficult. Anyway, go ahead. I'm not trying to take over. I'm just trying to give everybody context.
No, that's great. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly it. And it sounds a little bit like excuses, but honestly, for us, it was a recipe for disaster because we had such an easy start once we started doing e-com the right way, and it was just everything just kind of blew up and we got comfortable. And just psychologically, that's pretty dangerous. I think like if you have like a very easy win or you take a lot of hits, it's not good psychologically. And so that combination of just having that psychological obstacle of having a lot of easy wins and not adapting to the market, and then just having like very, very bad tracking and having less information about what's working and what's not, which just added to like, that the psychological state of kind of being in an illusion where I'm doing things a certain way, the market's changing, but I'm not changing with the market. And as I'm trying to change, I'm not really, I'm walking, but I'm not seeing, the path. And so we had a pretty tough time. We're also doing free plus shipping. CPMs went up. So, wasn't working as well. Tried a few different things, learned from different people. But basically like just those 12 months, we were living off of savings, and that's pretty tough because fortunately I hadn't had to deal with that before, which is good. But then all of a sudden it's just like a new challenge psychologically. And then I'm stepping up to the plate. It's not working, trying different things. And so that's another psychological hurdle because once you take a lot of hits, you're kind of in a box, right? If you have a really easy win, you're in a box. And if you take a lot of hits, it's kind of traumatic psychologically because then you're focused on fear and not focused on opportunities.
It's all about pain avoidance, right?
Right. Yeah. Which is not good, especially in this market. If like you're doing day trading or you're doing e-com, there's similar psychological pitfalls. But fortunately, we found ShineOn. And what I love about ShineOn is it's not just the product and the business model, which is epic. It's amazing. But it's also just the community and the coaches and the coffee with Michaels. I remember like February of 2022, I was just binge watching Coffee with Michaels, learning as much as I could. I did the 100K course, went through that, started, learning about phrase designs because I hadn't designed any POD products before.
It's
So
all
it's
drop shipping,
very
right?
new. Yeah, it was all drop shipping. And phrase writing is completely new to me, but I love the creative process. And I honestly, I really have to give you credit, Michael, because your positive energy made a huge difference. Seriously, because we went through pretty tough, several months, and then just having that positive energy and applying it to something new. I mean, it was amazing. And then also, starting ShineOn, it wasn't easy out the gate. I think, we did a lot of tests, but overall we were not profitable from the start. I'm doing Facebook ads. So, it was a bit tough, but I had a lot of support, from you, and then from our account manager, Carlos, Kirsta. I did Kirsta's program. I'm still in it. And then then I did Mario's program, which was epic. And, I'm still in Kirsta's program and Mario's program. And I think we did 100K post Mother's Day, so from April, end of March to I think around before June, end of May.
Here, let's
100K.
slow down just a little bit real quick. I want to get to that because I really want to dig into the kind of process and how you did that. But before we do, I want to go back to 2021 a little bit.
Okay.
So you do this with your wife, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What's that?
We run the business together. We're partners, so we discuss all the strategy together. But we have different roles within the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what's your wife's name? Can
Tamar.
you say it? Tamar?
Tamar. Yeah, we're Israeli, so it's an Israeli name.
That's great. And where are you guys located, by the way?
We're in Vegas. We're in Summerlin,
Vegas,
which is a suburb outside of Vegas. So I think we're 30 minutes from the Strip.
Okay, very cool. Actually, yeah. Okay. So, all right. So Dean and Tamar, you're running this business with your wife. 2019, you had a really good year. You built up kind of a war chest of savings. You move into 2020. Actually, 2020, you probably added to that, right? So you've got this kind of nice, sizable war chest. You get into 2021. This is the first time that you've really experienced kind of friction and hurdles and obstacles in your e-com journey. And it was for a number of reasons. We talked about competition. We also talked about iOS 14 making things kind of difficult, right? But you said pretty much the whole year you were living out of savings. Now, I can tell you, as a kind of an entrepreneur myself, anytime my bank account starts to lose points instead of gain points, right? You start to, the bank account goes down instead of up. It is even for me, it's a very painful experience. I cringe as soon as it starts going down. And for me, it turns into motivation, right? It turns into energy to go out there and to win, right? But I'm curious, let's drill into that. How did you deal with that? Because we got a lot of people listening here that maybe haven't had their first win. Maybe they've had some wins, but they're struggling right now. How did you deal with this kind of you were in a drought, you were in a valley. How did you deal with kind of the mental, the emotional hurdles, the putting stuff out there and not getting the success you're going for? Take us into that.
Sure. So yeah, that's a good question. It's a good thing to dig into, for sure. So it's a very humbling experience, right? So just on a psychological, spiritual level, we have the ego, right? And anytime you ask for something or you try to do something and you get a no, you get a rejection, it's just breaking the ego, and it can be a pretty painful experience. At the end of the day, it just means that how I was perceiving myself and the world was just different from reality. In terms of how I dealt with it,
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because you're what you're kind of speaking to is failed expectations, right? And it's
right.
kind of well, maybe there was an issue with the expectation in a sense.
Oh yeah,
there's a misalignment between what reality could provide and your expectation, or maybe the misalignment is you're just not working hard enough for the results that you want, or something like that. Anyway, you keep going here, and you tell me if I'm sizing
Sure.
that
No,
up.
yeah, definitely. Just a second. I just have to plug my computer in. I apologize. Just 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries. It'll get you.
Yeah. Apologize.
Yeah, so this is good stuff. And the reason I kind of want to drill into this, everybody, is like, one of the unique things about successful entrepreneurs is they all know how to withstand a great deal of pain. That's something that I found pretty common with all of them. And the type of pain, it's not physical pain. It's like mental and emotional pain. It's disappointment, right? It's not achieving the goal. It's having something that you want super bad and just not quite being able to reach it, right? And to constantly be in this place where it's like, you have to go back to the drawing board. You have to go back and practice some more, things like that. This is a very common place that I would say entrepreneurs spend the majority of their time hanging out in, right? Like, you have to get really comfortable in this place. So learning how other entrepreneurs get through it, learning the mindset hacks and the tricks and like the way they reframe their problems, it's very, very valuable. So anyways, Dean, you're back. We all safe?
Yeah, I'm back. All good now.
All right. So go ahead. I want to keep digging into this, like, how you dealt with the disappointment of 2021 as your war chest got smaller and smaller. You were working hard, but the results weren't coming.
Yeah. So, it was a very humbling experience. I'm super happy that it happened. It's like one of the best things that have happened to me in life, to be honest.
That's awesome.
And I think, for us, for me and my wife, it was challenging. We've been through some challenges before, so it wasn't like the first challenge in life or in business. But what helped us get through it, and not just get through it, but get through it in a way that we're thriving and succeeding, is having faith. We're spiritual, we're religious Jews. And, it really just kind of connected us with our faith in God, that everything that happens is for the best. And that, it's like, we're not alone. We're not here on our own. We have to do everything we can in our power, within reason, to succeed and advance, in every aspect of life. But at the end of the day, we're in good hands. And so that really just saved us. It saved our marriage, our business, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. I think everybody needs to figure out kind of what that bedrock is for them, because here's what I'm hearing, right? Your back was against the wall. You're stressed out. You're like, how is this ever going to work? And then it's like, because of your faith, you're able to kind of take a deep breath and just kind of let some of that go and say, we're going to be okay, right? Like, kind of no matter what, we got this. We're going to be okay. Someone bigger than us is looking out for us, right? In a way, like, there are a lot of different probably faith backgrounds on this call. Even there are probably a lot of people that atheists, agnostics, deists, whatever, right? Whatever that is for you, though, people, you have to do enough deep work here, especially as an entrepreneur, that you find whatever that bedrock is for you, right? You kind of got to go deep until you reach kind of that first thing that everything else is kind of built on, right? And if you don't come from a religious background, that's actually very challenging work, right? You're going to have to do a lot of deep thinking and stuff. But if you don't have that, the risk is that in moments of pain, rather than like holding on, right? Rather than keeping your eye on some distant light that is there, you go into a tailspin, right? And I've seen many people. I've had friends, by the way, that they don't have this kind of like metaphysical structure that they organize kind of their world with. And what happens is they go into this tailspin, and the result of the tailspin is some loss of identity. They come out of the tailspin and sometimes a little bit of a different person than they were before. And it's not always a good person that they come out as. They don't necessarily grow. They lose a part of themselves, right? So I don't want to get too deep into that, because we could spend literally hours and hours and days probably talking about that. But this is good. So you were back against the wall. You were kind of stressed, whatever, losing your stuff, but you and your wife have kind of your faith you're able to hold on to together. You're able to kind of take a deep breath, kind of, get a fresh perspective, right, on what you're doing, let go of some of maybe that pain and some of that strife. And like, how did you rebound from that? Where did you go from there?
So it's still a work in progress, right? Every day is a work in progress. If I may, I just want to add one point to what you said. And I wasn't always religious, right? I'm not going to start talking about religion and stuff. I'm just saying, like, I wasn't always religious, and I've been in tailspins. And I think the key is for everybody, whether you're religious or not, is when you have challenges in life, if you make the most of it, everything is for the best. Everything is good. Like, it's not like glass half full, glass half empty. The glass is full all the way. The good, the bad, it's all good. It's really how you perceive it, what you make out of it. Like you said, if someone's going through a tailspin, they can come out of it better or they can come out of it worse. So it's really, like, we have the responsibility as human beings and the power to do that. I believe that's why we're here, right? To advance. But anyway, you're asking, sorry. Well,
this is good stuff, man.
I had to say that. I felt like it was.
No, I mean, this was good, right? I kind of was asking you, what do you do with the pain? And it sounds like, your answer was like the thing that kept you from kind of that tailspin was your faith. And you and your wife, and you're very fortunate, you and your wife were able to reach for that together, right? But so, like, after you find your footing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, how did you rebound from that? Like, where did you go from there? Let's go through kind of 2021 and the challenges and how you practically dealt with those.
Sure. So, I had a lot of psychological baggage from a business sense, where we had those easy wins, like I was saying, which brings its own set of psychological obstacles. And then just like a barrage of hits where I'm trying different things, learning from different people. And I did learn a lot of stuff that's useful along the way. And I'm still using those skills and tools, right? But psychologically, it did have an effect.
Oh yeah. Made you soft.
It made me just focus more on, like you were saying, pain avoidance. Instead of just taking a step back, being like more focused on the bigger picture and then seeing the real opportunities. And so I started that process on my own. Once I joined Mario's coaching program, I started reading the book, The Disciplined Trader. And then that just really just opened everything up, where I was just, because that whole book, he's basically going through and saying, as a day trader, you have all these psychological pitfalls. And he's like, naming X, Y, Z. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have that psychological hurdle. I have this, I have that. And so that just opened everything up. And then it just, it basically closed that gap between, what we're perceiving and then the reality. And I think, like, as a business person, like, that's just incredibly important.
Yeah, it's so Mario recommends this book to all of his students. I haven't read it. I really want to. But the gist I get every time I talk to somebody that's read it is it sounds like what it is like this. It's almost like it challenges you to ask, is there something wrong with my process? Right? Like, I'm not getting the results I want, but the question is there something wrong with the process? And if there's not, you take your hands off and you stop messing with the process. You just keep doing it, right? Because eventually the results kind of come. I'm curious, like, what were your top lessons from the book?
So the top lessons, I would say, it's a good question. First of all, we have to understand, if we're not getting the results we want, we're going to have negative emotions. So that's a signal, first of all. If you have any kind of pain or disappointment in business or anything else, it's a signal that our perception is not aligned with the reality, right? Because if it was aligned with reality, we would change what we're doing and how we're doing it to get the results we want. If everybody had perfect perception, they would get all the results they wanted. They'd have no negative emotions, from his perspective in this book, right? So that's like the first step, is just, being brave enough to see your own flaws, to see your own strengths, and to see, like, where you are, where you need to be, and how to get there. Right. So just seeing that gap between where you are and where you need to be to get the results you want.
Yeah, I love that.
so I think like that's the main thing about the book. And then he goes into, like different psychological pitfalls and stuff like that and how to deal with them. But I think like that's just the main takeaway. So anytime now in business or anything else, if I'm feeling like kind of conflicted or any kind of negativity, like disappointment or pain or worry or fear, like that's a signal. I need to sit down and just like open up, myself psychologically, like I'm opening a book and just look at everything really just cold and unemotionally. Because in business, we need to have, especially like I think in ecom and POD, when you're doing creative stuff, it's good to have, emotional intelligence to think about, okay, how are the viewers, how are the customers, potential customers, going to react to this emotionally? But on the other hand, when I'm looking at myself or my business, or what do I need to learn, what do I need to change, what do I need to test, I have to be really unemotional about that. I'm not going to test stuff that I like. I need to test stuff that people are going to buy, right? And so that's one of the tough parts I think about doing this. Just being an entrepreneur in general, you have to wear a lot of different hats, but you also have to make all these switches, right? Where like now I'm just going to sit down and be very analytical about my stuff, my business, and myself, and then now I'm doing creative work. So for me, it was two things. It was, first of all, being really cold and unemotional about where I am, where I need to go. And then number two is, how do I get in the right state of mind when I'm doing creative work? And of course, the third, and I'd say the most important thing, is learning from the right people. Instead of reinventing the wheel, it's much better. Like you always say, now we have all these courses and coaches. When you started, you didn't have that. So you really had to invent the wheel. But now that's like the smartest move you can make. So it's those three things: learning from the right mentors, closing the gap between my perception and reality. And of course, it's a never ending process, right? It's not like I close the gap, right? So every day I have work to do. And then getting in the right state of mind when doing creative work and loving the creative process. That's what I dig.
I love how it like really at the root of all of this, it's kind of mindset, it's perception, it's like worldview. And it's kind of like if that is not if you don't have that figured out, you're just going to struggle through a lot of this. Let's do this real quick. Let's go to, so we've kind of spent some time in 2021, kind of the pain, the setbacks. Let's go to 2022. How do you even find out about ShineOn?
So I've known about ShineOn for a while because Adrian Morrison talked about it a lot. But we had our successful dropshipping store and funnel. Everything was working. So I was just very comfortable doing that. And we were making good money. We were like traveling the world and getting cha-chings, right? All over the world, saving money, So we were pretty comfortable doing that. And also we we pigeonholed ourselves doing that. So even though I've known about ShineOn for a while, I hadn't started it until, recently, until, 2022, but until last year. But I was seeing all the screenshots in the group, right? I was seeing all the success screenshots and a lot of different drop shipping groups and stuff. And I was like, okay, this group is an outlier. Definitely has the most first sales, first 100K, 7 figures. Seeing a lot of Mario Manduni screenshots. It was like seeing, and I started following him. I'm seeing in his story, all these like 6-figure, 7-figure sellers, seeing Kirsta's screenshots. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I need to switch gears here and just pivot, because I was kind of spinning my wheels, drop shipping. And also we've been through it with drop shipping products from China. We've had some nightmare stories from 2020 with COVID and shutdowns. Like I think we had like something like 10,000 orders that hadn't been shipped for like a month, something insane like that, and dealing with all. So we've been through it, my wife and I, and she's a rock star. She manages a lot of stuff like social media, customer service. And so, we've been through it. So but that's how really we got into ShineOn, is seeing all the success stories. And then I'm like, okay, let me check this out. I started watching Coffee with Michaels. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm vibing with this. And I think that's like super
It's the
important.
music. It's the music in our countdown timer.
I love the music, you know, and I've tried to Shazam some stuff because it gets me so like hyped up. Sometimes I just put a countdown on and get some work done, you know, if I'm feeling down. I love it, for sure. And the knowledge and just like the high standard of performance of all the ShineOn sellers, it's above and beyond what I've seen in a lot of different groups. And so that's great because, you know, we're all learning from the best, the top in the industry, and we're advancing and because it's, you know, there's a lot of competition. So I think, you know, just the fact that I got into ShineOn and that we're all here in this community, just learning and evolving, I think we're in a very good place. So that's really what got me into ShineOn. It's those things.
So you started, so February you found us, you binge watched a bunch of our videos. Then in March, you started selling for Mother's Day. Is that right?
So in end of March, I started testing in a few different niches. I think that initial test, I think it was like 10 different cards across like 2 or 3 niches. And you know, like most of the tests flopped, and then like 2 or 3 showed potential. So I think we did, and you know, looking back, I could have been, you know, smarter about what we tested, and you know, could have spent a lot less on initial testing because I was testing across Facebook and TikTok. But I think we spent a few thousand, like 4 or 5K doing a lot of testing until we found stuff that was profitable. And then we were pretty much, you know, at a small profit on the first 100K, something like that. Looking back, you know, I could have done things differently and we could have been a lot more profitable on that first 100K.
Yeah,
but you know, it's all good. We're here now, and that's what matters, you know.
So by that point, you had taken ShineOn 100K, maybe some Acursta stuff, whatever.
Oh yeah, I was digging deep, man, into the 100K, Kirsta's program, you know, phrase designs, message card designs, phrase writing. I was really like digging deep into that, and you know, applying everything that I was learning, and it works. It really works, you know. I think just on that first initial round of tests, I have the screenshot that I posted in the group. It was March 31st. I think in just like 2 days of testing, we passed $1,000. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it works. Definitely works. I love the 100K course. You know, it helped a lot. Also because it was a bit older. I think it was like from 2020. I think.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and a lot of those phrases, you know, Kirsta talks about this too. Mario talks about this, that a lot of those phrases, they come back. You know. Mm-hmm. It's not like something worked in 2020. Okay, that's done. No, like that you can, you know, get it to work again. A lot of the phrases, the top phrases that are interwoven into different, you know, different sentences that are interwoven into different messages, they come back again and again. So
yeah, for sure. So okay, so you've got some kind of drop shipping experience. You come into ShineOn, you immediately consume a lot of the videos, and of course, I recommend everybody try to invest in your education if you can. If you can't get a course where the information is kind of curated, right, and it kind of runs you through a process, at least go crazy in our YouTube channel because there's a ton of stuff there. You're just going to have to kind of put it all together yourself a little bit or take the challenge. But so you did that. You did let's see, a few 100,000 or a little over 100,000 in revenue, pretty small margins, but you were just kind of getting the hang of it, right? You were kind of learning how to do the designs, learning about the niches, how this print on demand thing kind of works. So what did summer look like for you? What did the June, July, August kind of time frames look like?
So ShineOn is very seasonal. Summer was a bit tough. We're still doing testing. We did most of our testing, you know, Mother's Day time. And, you know, we're doing a lot of variations testing, like Mario teaches, you know, he calls it phase 2 testing. Mm-hmm. Summer, I pivoted. We were doing like different niches, but it was a bit tough, to be honest. And I also gave a little bit more TLC to our drop shipping business, and you know, because I hadn't touched that in a while. I kind of just put it on pause. So summer was a bit tough, but then as soon as summer was over, things picked up like right away. We started a second store right as the summer started too. So a ShineOn store.
ShineOn store or drop shipping or what?
Second ShineOn store.
Cool.
So, you know, I was kind of working on that, getting into some different niches, working on CRO, on conversion rate optimization, and just learning, continuing to learn and get ready for Q4. I think summer is a great time to get ready for Q4.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree with you there. It's basically all of Q3 should be prep for Q4. Q4 is the freaking Super Bowl. So Q4 hits October 1st. If we go back to your screenshot here, let me pull it up real quick. It looks like your sales really start to take off right around the end of October, beginning of November. What happened right here? I mean, it's not like, you know, you see a gradual run up. It's like things are kind of flat and then boom, you're on the map. So what happened here?
So, you know, running a few different things, testing a few different things. We tested, I think, you know, one of the products that ended up doing well, we actually tested it and it showed potential as an outlier, you know, as something that's, you know, ahead of the pack. I think it was like in May. And then, you know, summer came around, so just kind of put it on the side. And then in October, I was just kind of reviewing all of our data. So we use Triple Whale for attribution to see, you know, how our ads are performing, because I can't really rely on just the Facebook Ads Manager for the data. So we use Triple Whale, and it has a nice dashboard similar to Facebook Ads Manager with all the data. And you know, I can like filter things, and I'm just filtering by ROAS and looking, okay, what did the best from like our hundreds of tests. So I found some things, and then I tested them, and then I tested different creative variations on those things, and I found a few that were showing potential. And so I did like a small scale on them, nothing huge, just some duping, you know, just duplicating like the campaigns to double, you know, the budget on those. And then I was looking on the data on those specific products, and based on the data on those products, I found the one that's showing the most potential. So I was looking at the conversion rate, average order value, mainly on those. And then based on that, and of course also the ROAS, the profit on those. And then based on that data, one of them was ahead of the pack from those like top three or whatever. And so once that, you know, that top card with the top creative was ahead of the pack and showing really nice potential based on the data, based on the conversion rate and AOV, that's when, you know, I was working with Mario, and Mario is like, okay, do this, do that, showing potential. Matt Bob was, you got to scale this. Everyone's like, you got to scale this, you got to scale this. So we did it. We just followed the, you know, the recipe based on what's working really well. You know, Mario works closely with Tim Bird, who you know, he started the AdLeaks Platinum and all of that. So just using like strategies, scaling strategies that are working for last year at the time, and it blew up, right?
Yeah,
so that's why you see it like kind of like just small lines, and then all of a sudden, boom, right?
Yeah, you go from what's got to be like $1,000 to $3,000 days to like what, 10, 12, 13, $14,000 days, something like that. I mean, it's the like you're basically not even in the ball game here, and then all of a sudden you show up putting points on the board. So it's pretty cool. So just so everybody knows, I want to make sure we didn't lose anybody there. Mario is in the community. He's a coach, and Mario is really good at scaling, right? This is probably Mario's specialty. And Mario's mentor is a gentleman named Tim Bird. Tim Bird goes way back and is a Facebook marketer, and he's kind of pioneered a bunch of these, I want to say like almost like hacky scaling methods, right? He does a lot of unique stuff with kind of manual bidding and day parting and all this kind of stuff that's more advanced. But when you're scaling, some of that advanced stuff will give you an edge. You don't necessarily need all that when you're starting, right? When you're running through the process and you're trying to find your first winning product, you don't need all that kind of crazy advanced Facebook ad kung fu. What you really need to be learning is how to create a winning product. But once you have a winning product and you are starting to scale, that advanced Facebook ad kung fu can really help you go from, you know, maybe doing high 5-figure days to or high 5-figure weeks to getting like really nice 6-figure weeks, right? Like those advanced methods can really help kind of tip the needle, so to speak. So anyways, you've got, if I can recap what you were saying, you kind of reviewed a bunch of your previous tests in Triple Whale. Triple Whale is just a software that helps with attribution and stuff, if anybody's interested. You reviewed a bunch of tests there. You looked at which tests were giving you signals that maybe you had something that had potential, right, to be a winner. And then you took those products and you kind of did some design tweaking or phrase tweaking on them. You basically took them to initial or additional rounds of testing. And then based on that, you found one that was a winner. And you had Mario and other people that looked at the data telling you like, hey, this one's going to scale. You need to try to scale it, right? And that's what you start doing right here. So now take us through kind of this period here. It looks like you've got like a 50,000 day up here, and then you pair way back. What's going on?
So we're doing a lot of manual bidding. And on this account, I wanted to make sure that we had a nice ROAS. So I wanted to go a bit more ROAS heavy. And so we kind of just didn't go too hard on the scale. I think also like at that point I got pretty sick, had a couple personal things too. So I didn't want to be tied to the computer. So that was part of it. It was also like kind of a quality of life thing, because just had a couple personal things come up.
Yeah, and by the way, for those that don't know, when you're scaling, I mean, it's not you're not sitting at the pool with your laptop, drinking martinis and whatever else, like that's not really what it's like. I mean, it really is like you're in front of your computer, literally checking it all day long when you're scaling with these kinds of numbers, and it's because your ad spend is really high. I mean, what were you spent like on this day here where you hit almost $50,000 in revenue? What do you think your ad spend was?
I could tell you. I think that day was pretty high ROAS. But I mean, I think, the price spending like around 20K, something like that.
Yeah, 20K. So when you're spending 20K in a single day, you don't get a break, right? So to do that over a prolonged period of time, it really does take kind of a toll. So just for anybody that's never been there, that's what Dean's talking about here.
Yeah, one thing that helped a lot with that is RevealBot. So I was doing a lot of automated rules, which helped a lot. So I still had a life, because we fortunately we were very blessed to start the scale early in Q4. I think from what I've learned from Mario and heard from other people, usually ShineOn scales start a bit later. So I really had to right away just get some automated rules in place. Not to just get burned out completely, because like you said, with it's at that level of scale, like 20K a day, you really have to be at your computer like every 15 minutes for certain parts of the day.
Seriously,
if you're not, you could lose hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, right? But fortunately, we had automated rules. So,
and even if you're not at your computer, you're checking your phone, a lot. Yeah, I totally feel you on that one. Totally feel you on that. So, I mean, after you kind of got this one dialed in and you kind of got your ROAS kind of where you wanted it to be, I mean, did you basically just ride it out through shipping cutoff, or did anything else change in here?
So we had we still did a lot of testing. We did creative testing, a lot of interest testing, a lot of audience testing. So definitely, trying to optimize the funnel. Once you have a lot of data from a scale, there's a lot of things that you can do. So definitely it was a lot of that. I think also around that point where it dips down, we had a lot of copycats copying us from China. And so that was a bit challenging too. Just straight up copying like everything that we're doing, even like copying like the brand name, which is pretty
that
crazy.
sucks.
So it's a good problem to have, because we started the scale so early. They had time to really like copy us hard, like pretty hardcore. So it was like dealing with a lot of that stuff, but then at a certain point, it's like, okay, they're going to copy whatever we're doing. We just need to keep improving what we're doing and stay ahead.
Yeah,
because I think like if you focus on that too much, it's just not good. It's not a good
I totally agree with that. It's just better to keep your eye on the prize, keep moving forward. If you get distracted by everybody copying you and you're trying to chase them with DMCA claims and all that crap, all you're doing is hurting your own business. Like you really just need to stay kind of focused and moving forward here. What were your AOVs? I suppose I could do the math here, but do you remember?
I think it was like between 105 and 110, something like that.
Okay, great. So tell us a little bit about what that looked like, your product funnel looked like. So somebody lands on the product page. Did you have any add-ons? Did you offer gift wrap or anything like that on the product page?
So for this funnel, we didn't have any pre-purchase offers or upsells. It was all post-purchase. I wanted to make sure that the conversion rate was nice and sweet on this one.
Did you have package protection in the cart?
On this one, no. We didn't. It was Dawn theme.
Okay.
And we had the package protection on the shipping side, so as like a shipping upsell.
Oh, I see. So when they were choosing their shipping method, you had one that was kind of premium price. It was like standard shipping plus package protection or something like that.
Right. You know, all that stuff. I think I've seen that on a lot of stores.
Yeah. Okay. So what about So nothing on the product page. You're not using package protection. You've broken my heart now. What on post purchase?
So post purchase, you know, additional message cards for other family members. You know,
yes,
I think that's like the best way to go. And then for that, it just depends on the niche. You know, depending on who your target gift buyer is. Like if they're buying for, you know, their son, then you'd probably want to do, you know, if they're men, you'd probably want to do like soulmate as the first post purchase, and then, you know, you do daughter as the second, or if you're selling, you know, to people buying for a woman or a girl, then, you know, the earrings are great. It really depends on the funnel. For us, since we started early and we did have some data before Q4. We're able to kind of just hone that in pretty quick, you know, in what is it, April and May, and I think it worked pretty well. And then, you know, I think Kirsta was saying, you know, it's a good funnel to have, and then Mario also confirmed that it's good. I think looking back, I could have done more testing on that, but you know, as the first, you know, big scale, I think we did pretty good. Previous years, like we did 2.5 million drop shipping, but it was never like this massive scale. It was just like just very consistent evergreen, and it just like accumulated 2 million. But doing like 900K in 3 months, like that it was a whole different game. It was a whole different level of intensity, and you know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty epic. You know, I'm very excited that we're able to do it. Our goal was to pass 1 million. In 2022, so we put a check mark on that. Our goal was to make 100K in profit. We surpassed that, so I'm very happy, you know, with 2022. Of course, we could have done some things differently. We could have done better, and it's good to look at that. But at the end of the day, like I'm very happy and I'm very excited for this coming year.
That's awesome.
I'm already starting to think about Q4 now. You know, I don't think it's ever too early.
It's hard not to. I live for Q4 now. So let's talk a little bit. Let's do like top 3 tips for new people, and then I think we'll try to wrap this up. So if you just stretch back over kind of everything you've learned, the good times, the bad times, the scaling, the testing, you know, the process, all that stuff. If you know, someone you love dearly was coming to you saying like, hey, how do I get started in this? What are kind of like the top 3 things I should be doing? What would those be?
So for someone just starting out, I would say learn from the right people, and then as part of that, follow the recipe. Don't, you know, when you're first starting, I wouldn't start like, you know, testing things that are like completely different than what, you know, the top mentors are suggesting. You know, learn from Michael, learn from Kirsta, learn from Mario, learn from everybody that you can. Do things in a way that's already proven. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. So that's like the top one is don't reinvent the wheel.
Totally agree with that.
Because once you have a good starting point, you can always then test things that are, you know, like different and unique.
Look, if you're new, it's just, you're not in a place to be inventing. This is a wax on, wax off type of period, right? It's like you don't learn all the cool chops and kicks. That'll come later. It's like right now, like try to pick up the kind of underlying lessons in all the stuff that the people that have been there are teaching, you know? And by the way, this is very simple stuff. I mean, Mario, you can attest to this. Everybody can attest to this that's scaled. Most of the work is boring, right? It can be enjoyable. I'm not saying it's not enjoyable, but I'm saying it's simple and it's kind of boring. It's like you're doing product research, you're putting together phrases, you're testing variations on designs, you're spending money, you're analyzing the results, you're doing all that over again. You're going to do that 100 times before you hit big winners, especially if you're new. It takes time to kind of learn. So anyway, I totally agree with that. What's number 2?
Number 2, I'd say is get your mindset right. And so there are a couple things, right? I'd say at least a few things included in that, but definitely get mindset right in terms of, be real with yourself, like 100% real. Don't be afraid to see your flaws. Don't be afraid to see your strengths, and lean into your strengths. And if you feel like, okay, I need to fix this in order to get these results, then it needs to get done. And I think, and as part of that, understand that it's a process. It's not like you're just gonna like flip a switch and then change yourself. No, it's like an everyday, from moment to moment process. And so I think, like, especially like doing print on demand, and especially doing ShineOn, where it's all like sentiment, if they cry, they buy. You really have to be real with yourself. What kind of emotional state am I in right now before you start doing the creative work? And I think Kirsta talks about that a lot, and he has, different things that he does for that. And I think that's key, because you really want to be in the zone when you're doing creative work, when you're doing phrase creation and design creation and picking what to test. Really have to be in a good state of mind for that.
So I totally agree with both of these points. On the first point about, like, you got to be real with yourself. I mean, something that you need to understand is that entrepreneurship is a truth serum, right? And I want to be careful about overgeneralizing this, because everybody's different. But if you are someone that runs from reality, this is going to be a wake-up call for you, right? And you should imagine yourself strapped to a chair, and entrepreneurship is like this doctor that's got this really bitter medicine that's trying to hold your mouth open and getting you to drink it, right? And the more you spit out that bitter medicine, right, the longer it's going to take for you to get healthy and to learn what success is here. Like, all Dean, that's a pretty dramatic metaphor, but all Dean is trying to say is like this is going to be a humbling experience, right? Because you can't will, no, like, no amount of wishful thinking and hope is going to make you successful here, right? Like, you're going to work really hard. You're going to put stuff out into the world here, right? I'm not being woo-woo. I'm not saying you're putting stuff out in the universe. I'm saying you're going to create a product. You're going to spend money marketing it. And then you're going to get data back that tells you whether or not you suck or you're good, right? And if the message comes back, and most of the time it will come back and say that your product sucks, right? You've got to learn from that. You have to be willing to hear that you missed the mark on that one, and you have to be willing to interpret the data, learn the lessons, and then start all over again. And if your ego gets in the way, or you think you're better than this, or you don't have the patience and the discipline to, like, kind of get through some of that pain and some of this period where, like, you're just not good at it, you're not going to make it. You're just not going to make it, right? So entrepreneurship in that sense is a truth serum. It's going to be a giant mirror, and it's going to hold it up, and you're going to look at yourself frequently, and all you're going to see are the bad parts until you work on that enough to be successful here. So look, it's an extreme metaphor, but I want people to understand that success here comes with some degree of emotional and mental kind of pain that you need to learn how to kind of like deal with and push through before you're going to be successful. On the second point here, I agree with you too on the, like, when you're trying to get in the right mindset to do, like, the creative work. For me, I always movies were kind of a thing that would do it for me. If I could watch some kind of sappy movie that I knew kind of would touch me in the right places, I could then, like, go on and do kind of the creative work afterwards. I'm sure music is another really good one. Some people go to poetry. There's a lot of ways you can kind of like get yourself into an emotional state necessary to do some of the creative work. So I kind of agree with you on that.
Yeah, definitely. You just got to find what works for you personally. What works really well for me is doing like a bit of meditation, and then also just kind of like starting with the end in mind and doing visualization and affirmations. So, just kind of like, because in order to be successful, you have to be in a successful state of mind, right? And then so what really helps, because if you're looking at, okay, this didn't do well, I have this much in my bank account, I'm living in this house, you're seeing all this data that's pointing to the opposite direction of where you want to be in terms of your state of mind. But we have the power to be in any state of mind we want. We have imagination. So I just really just designed as like an architect. This is the reality that I want for me and for my wife, for our family, and for the business. These are our goals. This is where I want to be in a year or 5 years. Whatever works for you, and then just close your eyes and live it. Like literally as if you're in a dream, and this is like the reality of the dream. And it just takes like 3 minutes to do it after you do it a few times. And so I just do that, and then I start to work. I just do that every morning. I try to do it every morning, right before I start work.
I went over this in one of my mindset things a few days ago. Like, what you tell yourself becomes true. Like, that's kind of a fact. Like, I'm not saying you're going to change reality, but like what you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, all that kind of stuff, like that becomes true. Like, your narrative is what you will believe, right? And I think that's kind of all you're saying here. You're saying essentially the same thing. You're basically getting up every morning and you're trying to brainwash yourself into a place of optimal success. And it works. It works.
Yeah, it works really well. Because once you change your state of mind, you're changing your emotions, which is changing your thoughts and your actions. Yep. So I think that's a big key for state of mind for me. And if you're in a rut, just take a break, go outside, or watch whatever works for you. Do that. But I think at the end of the day, like affirmations, and some visualizations, and all you really need is 5 minutes. I don't spend like 50 minutes doing affirmations and visualizations.
Yeah. Well,
I think you only need like 5 or 10 minutes, and then you're good to go. I don't, if I'm doing creative work, I'm not going to start checking like all our ads across our stores before I do that. Because, a lot of times you can fall into the trap where, okay, this ad didn't do well, this product didn't do well, but it's like, I'm not my product. I'm not my message card. That's just data. That's just data to help me learn and grow and adapt. So, and then the third thing, which is, I think it's a good jump off point for the top three. The third point is to just hold yourself accountable with a set of ground rules. So especially when you're starting out, determine ahead of time, how many products am I going to test? What days am I going to test them? When am I going to schedule my ads? At what point am I going to make cuts? If it got no sales, if it got one sale, if it got two sales, you really just have to have rules and stick to them. Like, don't fall in love with a product if no one's buying it and keep burning money on it. Just stop, And then also once you've tested using your rules, just go back and just look at the data and just say, okay, I did like, let's say 5 tests, and they're all like very different tests, maybe in the same niche or different niches. Look at the data from those tests. What did better? What did worse? Maybe they're all profitable. Maybe none of them are profitable. Maybe one is profitable. It doesn't really matter. Just look at the data and don't look at CTR. Don't look at all these secondary metrics. Just look at sales. If you're doing 5 tests and you're doing them like we said in the first rule, in the first tip, where you're following the recipe, you're gonna get a sale if you're following the recipe. If you're following the recipe for success from people that have already proven that it's possible and have done big numbers, you're going to get some sales. So just follow the data and then lean into what's working. So then your second round of tests, like the next week or the next, few days, develop those products based on what you learned from the data and just keep going. And and don't feel bad if it didn't work out. Like it doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're not good or not worthy. It has nothing to do with that. It's like you're in class, you're in school, you're in class, and the tests are the lesson. The data that you're getting from the test is the lesson. It's not like the grade on the test. It's just the lesson. You need to learn from it, take that knowledge and apply it to your next tests, and just be like very unemotional about that part of the process. That's like be accountable with a set of rules and be unemotional about that side of the business.
Yeah, I dig that. So here, I want to quickly recap. So you said number one was kind of like listening to the leaders in the space or the mentors, right? And like just doing what they say. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to come up with your own stuff. Like whatever they kind of tell you to do, just do it. It's time to be a student, right? Number two was about mindset, right? Not only kind of the ability to detach and look at things kind of objectively and as unemotionally as possible, like when it comes to analyzing data or whatever it is. But also there was a kind of a second component, which was, before you do creative work, make sure you're in the headspace to do creative work, right? Because in order to, especially when you're doing the phrase work in particular, you said it's the phrase or it's if they cry, they'll buy, right? Like you have to.
The phrase that pays, if they cry, that's the whole business model, getting people to cry, which I love.
Exactly. And so you're going to be able to better tap into those things, right? If you're kind of in an emotional state that can kind of resonate with the phrases and kind of hear what the phrases have to say, that kind of thing. So, and then number three was about kind of having a system and following the system, right? It's like
having rules, just have rules ahead of time. Yeah, you're right. It's a system, but I just really want to hammer that point that you just have to have a rule. Once it passes this certain amount in spend without a sale, you just cut it immediately. And so you have certain days and times. You have certain days and times planned ahead. If I'm spending 25 a day, I want to run it for 2 days. Then whatever your ad account time is at 12 a.m. on that second day, you're at the computer and you're making cuts.
This is a very important one for new people because I see lots. I've gone through this. New people will spend some inordinate amount of time on a design and a phrase that they're just in love with, right? And then they put it out into the market and it doesn't work. But if they a lot of times are emotionally committed to that thing because they've spent so much time and effort on it, and then they break their own rules and let that thing spend more money than it should, and it just ends up kind of in a loss they didn't actually need to suffer, right? So I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah, and that's more budget they could have used to test other phrases.
Absolutely. So Dean, let's move to kind of wrap this up. Do you have any kind of parting words for anybody that's out there that's new, that's watching this, that kind of thing?
Enjoy the process. Learn from the right people that you love learning from, like Michael, Kirsta, Mario. We have so many mentors to learn from. Find someone that you connect with. Enjoy every part of the process. Just fall in love with the process. Learn as you're learning, take notes, and then start applying it. Don't wait too long, because I think some people also, they just keep learning and learning and learning. And I used to be a perfectionist, so I can relate to that. Throw that out the window, right? Love the process, and then just start applying it, and love the creative side of it. Enjoy it. When it comes down to making decisions, though, be very cold about that. Have rules in place ahead of time so that you will be able to hold yourself accountable. Because it's very easy to say, okay, I'll just give it one more day. Maybe it'll get a sale. No. If it passed, your certain mark of budget with no sales, just cut it, move on. Don't waste time and money on that. I think that's just the top advice for someone just starting out. I think if you can put a check mark on those things, you're basically guaranteed to get to the next step. And at the next step, once you're getting to more sales, there's additional challenges. But I think just to get started, those are the most important things.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I agree with that. This was great. Thanks for coming on. Do me a favor, everybody in the audience. Let Dean know how much you appreciate him coming on. I would recommend go into the Facebook group, search for Dean's name in the group. You can actually follow his journey because he made kind of a series of posts every time he hit a new milestone or something like that. There's 4 or 5 posts in the Facebook group over the last year, and you can see where he started, what he struggled with. He's got some posts out there with some tips and tricks in it. So go check that out. Search for Dean Levy in the Facebook group if you want that. Dean, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story. It's been really cool to watch you find success throughout the year, especially in Q4. You were crushing it. I actually reached out, I think it was in October. Wonder if you wanted to come on to Coffee with Michael then, and you were like, no, I'm working. Which is pretty.
It was madness. It was madness.
It's pretty cool.
It's so a good I look forward to have though.
Yeah. Well, we got Valentine's Day, Mother's Day up next. I look forward to seeing where you kind of go from there. Until next time, everybody. Please, if you're new and you haven't started with ShineOn yet, go to ShineOn.com. You can sign up. You can find our app in the Shopify App Store. If you're on YouTube and you're not in the Facebook group, Dean talked about how kind of the group is unique in the space. There's kind of a family atmosphere to it. There's lots of screenshots, tips, tricks. It's very motivational. Come join the group. You're missing out. And if you're in Facebook and you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd appreciate it. And then here are some of the other handles we have for some other social media spots. Our social media team's constantly putting out new videos. They're funny. They're entertaining. We like to have fun with this. So go check us out here if you want to stay entertained. Until we see you next time, everybody, happy selling. Dean, thanks for coming on, bud. Appreciate you.
Happy selling. Thank you, Michael.
Take care, everybody.